Hello, this is Reb Yoseph Schreiber coming to you from the land of Israel. This week is Parshas Metsora. It deals with the purification of a leper, someone stricken with the spiritual malady, saras, leprosy, that causes him to be Tame. Tame is often considered to be defilement, not 100. It's always defilement. It's generally a pejorative, not 100% of the time. The idea is that it does something to a person's emotions, his mentality, his system of values that is negative, and it requires some sort of rectification. The practical aspect of it is that a person cannot go up to the Temple Mount or eat of sacred foods or come in contact with Kohanim. It comes out the carbonota, carbon shlamim, can't be involved with that, or separating trumas and maestras. But the main idea is that this person has become somewhat defiled. This parsha deals with things that also venereal disease causing tumor, masturbation and semen, including ordinary sexual relations, are also a cause of tumor. Other ones brought in the Chumash are touching a nevela, an animal that did not die of a proper shechita. Also eating from creatures that are the flesh of creatures that are not kosher, as well as touching the carcass of certain specific animals, lizards, rodents. It actually gives their name. The rectification can be very simple. In the case of sexual relations, it's just simply a case of bathing. Accepted halakha is to go to the mikveh. After that, the person waits until sunset. This is one of the paradoxes where a person is meant to be engaged in being fruitful and multiply, which is a mitzvah. You also have the issue of coming in contact with a dead body, but burying the dead is considered chesed emet, true kindness. It's praised. Consoling mourners as well. It's often like that in the Torah, where the Torah does not really wish to say that a particular thing is totally bad. But the general idea, as stated by the Rambam, Moreh Nevuchim, is that the idea is that a person should distance himself from things that are disgusting. Okay? In the case of the Metsora, he not only has to bathe, he also has to launder his clothes. Very frequently has to be done involved with tumah, and shave off all of his hair, body hair, and then it makes it even stronger, saying specifically the hair on his scalp, his beard, his eyebrows. What seems to be being indicated is the idea of lice or matted hair. Matted hair, it's a mitzvah to say a bracha over someone who has matted hair, mishnei habriyut, that God varies or makes unusual things or things different in the creation. It's also said on freaks. is the basic approach of it. It's also said on animals that are very shocking. An ape or an elephant are specifically given. However, it's also said on someone who is black, a Negro, because their appearance can be very bold and shocking. Black friends, they like it when you're a little bit afraid of them. But again, you have the idea of the combination of things. It's related to the idea of naki, which is cleanliness. Who will ascend the mountain of God? Naki kapang, the people who is clean of hands, uvar lev, and someone who has a wholesome heart. But generally, the idea, naki can be used either in a spiritual sense, where it's related, or synonymous to the idea of being tahor, pure, but it's basically, its primary meaning is that of something that is physically clean. Where cleanliness, the popular adage, cleanliness is next to godliness, is one of the ideas that is in this parsha. The Rambam specifically says that it's one of the focuses of the law. However, it should be more precisely applied to people who are of good character and have good deeds, that they're the ones who should really be clean. The Gemara brings a statement in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that a Talmid Chacham who has, say, a fat stain on his garment should die. And Ravina lightens up on it, says really it means zera, semen, who has a semen stain on his garment, and he goes out in public with it. So the idea is that it's that a person should not be a menuvel, a degenerate, a disgusting person. The Gemara also talks about that, and it says that if it was one of the Talmudic sages giving advice to his son, he says, if this menuvel, you should bump into him, drag him into the Beis HaMidrash, and teach him Torah, that if he's like a stone, you should melt him. If he's like iron, you should shatter him. The idea of a menuvel being a sign of a symbol or of the evil inclination so you just learn Torah. The idea is it is through the learning of Torah that we purify the evil that is within us, and we help bad people do tshuva. Okay? When returning to the idea, though, of the purification of the Metsora, part of the purification is that he has to bring a sheep, a kevis, I think it's a yearling sheep as a sacrifice, and the blood from the sheep is applied to his right ear, his right thumb, and his right big toe. Idea of rectification of the head, the heart, and a person's direction, his actions. Okay, you have something very similar with the inauguration of the Kohen Gadol, where a ram is slaughtered and the blood is applied to the Kohen Gadol's right ear, right thumb, and right big toe. So the application of the blood is very similar in both cases. In the case of the Metsora, though, it's repeated again but instead it's done with oil. Part of the carbonate for Metsora after the sore has been cleaned up, which is a sign that he really has changed. Is he brings a log of oil. A log is about 3/4 of a liter, 3/4 of a quart. Okay? And the oil, the Kohen places the oil or a part of it in his hand, and he dips his finger in the palm of his hand, and he applies oil to the Metsora's right ear, right thumb, and right big toe. Okay? And then he takes what remains of the oil and puts it on the head of the leper undergoing purification. Okay, now these ceremonies are meant to teach a lesson. And the idea of oil on the head, it's brought in Psalms, Psalm Kuf Mem Aleph, if I'm not mistaken, 141, where David HaMelech says that, or brings, that he shouldn't be lacking oil on his head. The idea is that oil is the fuel for light. And the head that has oil on it is considered like a wick, and between the two of them you have a candle. The Yiddish expression is he is learning Torah with a burn, okay? Enthusiasm, as well as he's become very bright from the Torah. And the symbolism seems to invite a comparison, saying that a person can be as low and as disgusting as a Metsora, but if he cleans up his act and he learns with enthusiasm, that he could be as great as the Kohen Gadol. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.